Hello, and welcome to this Easter Thursday reflection. My name is Andrew, and I'm the leader of the Salvation Army in Sunbury. Traditionally tonight at Sunbury, the night before Good Friday, some Salvers and friends will gather together for a special celebration meal called a Passover. If you haven't heard of it, the meal provides a fascinating insight into an ancient Hebrew tradition, thousands of years old, held around the same time each year. It is filled with symbology and meaning. There are many elements to the dinner, and each part has a purpose and a story in the overall. For example, we have a hard-boiled egg, which is a symbol of new life and the origin of the chocolate eggs we all enjoy today. One of my favourite parts in particular is how it acknowledges both the sweet and the bitter times of life. There is time during the meal to remember both the atrocities and the victories of our past and present, but always ends in a hope for a better future. In the meal, there are two things that flatbread is dipped into: the maror and the charoset. Now the maror is very bitter, often horseradish, to acknowledge the bitter moments of life, but the charoset is a sweet mix of applesauce and crushed nuts to see the sweetness despite the tragedy. In Western society, save perhaps for Anzac and Remembrance Days, we aren't so keen to relive and remember the bitter moments of our lives. We'd rather forget them, although we know that they are as much a part of our past as the happier moments are. Deep down, we all acknowledge it's both the sweet and the not so sweet moments that shape our lives. On the first Easter Thursday, just before Jesus was arrested, he led his closest followers through this Passover meal, even including Judas, who he knew would sell him out. At one point in the meal, Jesus dips bread and offers it to Judas, saying, "What you're about to do, do quickly." I always wonder which dip he used. The maror, possibly indicating to Judas that what he was about to do, betray Jesus, was a bitter thing. Or perhaps Jesus dipped it in the charoset, indicating that Jesus was offering something sweet despite what Judas had chosen to do. In some Passover traditions, the bread is dipped into both, to mingle the sweet and the bitter. Perhaps this is what happened, we'll never know. Easter Thursday is often called Maundy Thursday, from the Latin mandatum, which means a mandate or a commandment. Just after Judas leaves, Jesus says to his followers, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this everyone will know that you're my disciples, if you love one another." Now this was written in ancient Greek in the Bible, which had several terms for the word love. For example, the romantic love of lovers is eros. The close friendship love is philia. The love Jesus mentions here was agape, which can be translated as faithfulness, commitment, and generous sacrifice without expecting anything in return. A lack of concern for self, but concern about the greatest good of the other. Now this was a commandment, not an option. Anyone who wants to call themselves disciples or followers of Jesus must have such love for one another. We acknowledge the bitterness and sorrow caused when Christians have got this wrong. And we celebrate the sweetness when we've got this right. At the end of our Passover meals in Sunbury, the dishes containing the dips usually have plenty of bitter maror left, unfinished, but most of the charoset is gone. May it be so with us, less of the bitter, more of the sweet. In this time of crisis we don't ignore, but we acknowledge the bitterness of these times, the sorrow of not being physically together, the loss of work, the loss of freedoms. Yet we're finding new ways of drawing together, such as this, which are sweetness among the bitter. You know, just like in the Passover, Jesus sees the bitterness in our lives and offers us the sweetness of a happy and whole heart and life. a love that never fails. I hope you have come to know this sweetness just as I have. If not, then I encourage you to seek him. You will find him if you seek him with all of your heart. Thank you.